topics I wanted to get at. One thing that I wanted to, and I want to hear what you're experiencing with this is just around uh, alcohol or even other drugs in the house. Okay, so for me, for example, for my in my experience, my wife and I used to drink together. I've actually been with her for 17 years. I'm 37 now. She was 19. I was 20 when we first met, and we got married 10 years ago. So we've been together for a very long time. We used to drink together. We used to, uh, and since I first tried to get sober, so this is, since about 7 or 8 years ago, we haven't kept any alcohol in the house. That's just what we do. Okay. I don't want to have it around. We don't like, there's no drugs around the house at all that I could be like on any kind of, moment of weakness. I could wake up at 3 in the morning and reach somewhere. We don't keep that stuff at all in our relationship. That has not been something that I have not told her, we're not keeping any alcohol in the house. It just kind of progressed that way. I mean, she was never like a big enough drinker that was any kind of problem to do that or like a strain for her. But I do think that helps. I think that it helps to not have that stuff around. Like those things that you were having issues with at some point. I don't know that it's always great to have that constant reminder, like, here it is. And I'm interested to hear what your experience with that has been.
Yeah, so I'll say my experience, my opinion. I would say early on, don't have it in the house. That would be my opinion, advice. If it's the wife in recovery and the husband likes, his beer, beer every night or beer on weekends or whatever, or vice versa, the wife likes a bottle of wine. Early on, I think it's smart to just not have it there, because it's really easy to create a reservation in the back of your mind. Well, I'm going to do the best I can. And, if it's a bad day, well, I'm just going to run downstairs real quick and have throw down a martini real quick before I go to sleep. She won't know. But if you can eliminate that, I would say, especially early on, it's really important to just put yourself in the best possible place of victory continually. Now, like when I was, roughly 5 years or whatever into my recovery, when my wife and I met, she likes to have a glass of wine. She can also go 3 weeks a month without having a glass of wine.
Yeah.
But, she likes to have a glass of wine. And from the start, we've had alcohol in the house. It's not all the time because she doesn't need it all the time. Specifically and this is my experience. Someone else might be 10 years into their recovery. They're like, absolutely not. I can't have it in the house. Well, then you should do that. You should do that. You should not have it in the house. Okay. For me, it's, again, I was a different place in my recovery when we got married, and we usually have, a bottle of wine or a couple of beers in the fridge, and they'll sit there for a long time. I'll say this for my own personal experience. It would be more difficult for me if there was a half ounce of weed in the house all the time, for me personally. Yeah. It would be more difficult for me if I knew in the medicine cabinet, well, my wife's got that, constantly refilled bottle of Xanax in there. Yeah. My wife's got, I know there's always, 60 Percocet in there. I can go grab those would be more difficult for me personally if those were constantly in the house, and they're not, and they never have been. But there's usually alcohol. Yeah. There's usually some alcohol in our house. And again, I just tell people, look, if you're 10 years into your recovery, if you're 5, whatever, and you're like, I don't like the idea of that, then don't do it. And then absolutely don't put yourself in that situation.